Ayo, ayo. All right. I am here today on November 18th, 9:36 a.m. Um, I'm still not here to give out the story because I'm still formulating it in my head. But I would like to, how do I say it? Tell a little bit about some of the tell a little something about some of the people in the tell a little something about the my fellow guests of Aspire. So the first thing will be about my first roommate, Christopher. I'll first read off my notes and probably say something else. Christopher was religious. He came to Aspire from jail. Uh, he's 33. He was busted for possession of meth. Um, he was involuntary. Involuntary versus voluntary should be kind of obvious, but I'll define that. Involuntary means you came there involuntarily. Uh, means you were thrown there from usually from jail, or you were committed there by some other means. Voluntary means you decided, okay, I'm getting kind of close to the edge or some other thing, and you were like, I need to go there before this is getting bad, and I need to go there to kind of straighten out. So involuntary, voluntary. He was involuntary. Um, he spent a lot of his time reading, and he read. He was reading some Charles Dickens and other stuff like that, and he also read Edgar Allan Poe. Uh, and from him, I actually learned that Edgar Allan Poe uh, wrote more than like poetry and art stuff, but Edgar Allan Poe and writers like Edgar Allan Poe um, wrote about armchair philosophy, like uh, physics, essentially physics. Before physics was all mathematics. He wrote Edgar Allan Poe wrote some of the stuff about space-time mathematics without the mathematics, which is kind of interesting. Uh, so, in some ways, kind of like me. It's like I don't bother with the mathematics. I just kind of think about stuff. So, hey, mathematicians and physicists, why don't you come here? I don't really do the math because I don't really like calculus, but maybe you need to come see the artists. Maybe you need to take some art class, some creative thinking classes, and then you'll be able to figure shit out. Or just drop some acid. And maybe you'll learn stuff. And maybe you'll learn stuff and you won't want to publish your work because, atom bomb. Uh, right? I mean, atom bomb times, atom bomb to uh, uh, increase it by a factor of 2. And, well, yeah. Increase it by a factor of 2 and decrease the size by a factor of 2. And, well, you know how bad that can be. Humanity isn't ready for that kind of technology. So, yeah. But he was an interesting guy. An interesting person to room with, for sure. He spent most of his time reading. Reading and kind of just in the room a lot of time alone and sleeping too. So, yeah, that was Chris. Next one is my second roommate, Eddie Doolin Jr., another involuntary. He came from Polk County lockup. He was helping move property, and so he was in for criminal trespassing. That's what I was in for. That's what I was initially booked for, criminal trespassing. And the charges were later dropped because they were just like, well, it was bullcrap. And they were like, the guy was like, so whatever, they just dropped the charges. He grew up in Houston, Texas, and he'd done a lot of crap through his life. One of them was laying pipe. So do that, get from that, whatever. He said he's owned 3 businesses, 2 CNC shops, and a used car lot. He'd been jailed 5 times. He claims that the movie Nobody 2 was based off of him. So you can take from that whatever you want. And he says, I wrote down Trinity Oilfield Services, Halliburton, and Weatherford. I think that's because he said something like he or his family owns parts of it, something, and his family's kind of screwing him out of his inheritance. So, when he gets out, when he gets done with this whole psychiatric facility, he's got to try and fight that, probably in court, but obviously try and not do it in court because court is long and costly and blah. But you never know. I mean, it is a psych hospital, so I always take things like that, statements like that, with a grain of salt, even if the person is not in a psych hospital. So, no offense to Eddie, but I mean, I'll believe it when I see it. Sorry, Eddie, but I've had a lot of people in my life, maybe not a lot, but I've had people come through my life make big claims like that, and I mean, come on. That's a big claim, and you kind of gotta, put your money where your mouth is, so to speak. Um, Kimberly, she was an interesting lady. Uh, she's 61. She was in there for a suicide attempt. She was involuntary. 911. She's married for 13 years. She's gonna uh, get divorced on January 7th, which is my sister's birthday. Woot. Shout out to my sister. She filed it. Um, they're both employed. She was filing divorce because her husband was not filing her emotional and religious needs. Um, and yeah, because she's pretty religious, and I get the impression that she kind of. I get the impression that she pretty much made it clear at the beginning that she was how religious she was, and now that's not the thing. The thing is, I think her husband kind of went, all right, I'll stand by you. I'll go to church and everything, and I'll do that with you. And he went to church, and he did the whole church thing, and he just never really kind of gave himself over to the entire thing. He just went through the motions, and that ended up not being enough for her, because he went through the motions, and then he kind of just, when they were done with church, he just kind of went off and went to the other place. She called it like the tool shed or the tool barn or wherever, and did his work sometimes. And she said he just got kind of distant after a while. So, and she just kind of felt that over time just kind of made the marriage kind of empty. So, people just grow apart after a while. So, it's that sort of thing. But that's what caused her to attempt suicide. So now she's just filing a divorce. There was Courtney. She's a younger black girl. She was very nice at the beginning. She seemed very there at the beginning. And then, 3 days in, something like that, she just kind of went bleh, out there, and it was just like, gone. And she was religious too. She always had a Bible in her hand. She was going to, afterwards, after getting out, she's going to go to women's shelter and kind of try and get her life together. Near the end, she started to seem to get better, and there's kind of an up and down, better, not better, better, not better, better, not better. I don't know what the deal with her kind of zoning out was, but hope she picks herself out of that funk, because she was a nice girl. So yeah, I hope she gets better. There's a girl, Sarah, who's on disability, and so is her sister. And she's schizotypal girl. Mom was a bus driver. Her sister, has fairly severe schizophrenia. Both of her and her sister are on disability because of their schizophrenia spectrum thing, and it's taking a toll on their family. And, you know, so they have to deal with that and this kind of thing. I feel for them because both of them have a the mom has to deal with two kids that have a disability. The Sarah disability, frankly, it doesn't seem as bad. She seems pretty functional, but from the way she describes her sister seems like she has it pretty bad. I've known one one of my roommates had it kind of bad. It wasn't as bad as it could have been because he had medication that really took the edge off. And she said her sister has a really hard time taking medication because she just doesn't want to take it. And some people that could have a better time taking medication, it's just some people just don't want to take their medication. So it's just, you gotta get them. Some people, it's just you gotta get them to take their medication like for a few days in order to get them to take their medication forever. Then they'll be kind of sane enough to realize, oh, I gotta take my medication. That's kind of the hard part for a good deal of people, because they'll be so like about medication. So that can be some of the people, and to get to a point of medication that works and doesn't have fucked up side effects. That can be tricky. There's another girl, Lilith. Yeah, I know that. Lilith. I don't know. I don't know why a person would name their daughter Lilith. She's 19. She has an abusive husband that committed her out of some kind of revenge because she wanted to divorce him. She wanted to divorce her husband, so her husband committed her, and so now she wants to divorce him. So he committed her to a 72-hour hold, and she has a fiance. She has a new husband in mind, so she's going through that bullcrap to divorce him. She seems sane to me, so deal with that. And, then of course there's the other people that I mentioned in another video that were just the LaRonda et al. Type people. LaRonda, Dallas, Mark, I didn't mention Dallas and Mark's by name, but LaRonda, Dallas, Mark were three. The LaRonda, Dallas, Mark, Sharon are four that I can say needed to be in a different facility. Now, some people might say Sharon didn't need to be, but Sharon, it would have been helpful if she was in a different facility. I don't think she necessarily needed to be, but it would have been helpful for her to be in a different facility. I think that's it for the actual people that I talked to that I have written down. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's it for the people that I have written down. I can't even really think of anyone else because I don't want to say too much about anybody else because I don't have their kind of explicit consent. So I don't want to, go too much into detail. Without having the consent of the individual, that would be not right. But I gave out my channel to a bunch of people in there. Not everyone, but a bunch. So if you do see the video on the channel, feel free to comment. Right? See the video. If you see the video here, comment. Put your little 2 cents in there and tell your story. If the place really helped you, or the place really sucked for you, or whatever, go ahead, feel free. Tell your side of the story. It could be helpful to anyone in the world. I thought the place was, the place was only helpful in that it gave me some place to just simmer down. Gave me kind of a safe place to just simmer down. After 3 days of being there, I didn't need to be there anymore. They just thought I needed to be there because it was like legally necessary and policy necessary. But other than that, I didn't need to be there. Now they needed to have me there because of policy and legality. I understand that, but I hate it. And it's also just plain good business because they can bill Medicare and Medicaid. So whatever. Go ahead, make money off my suffering. And I really hope LaRonda and Mark and Dallas and Marquis, that was the name of the guy. I just remember it. That was the name of the guy that ended up getting, what I think happened is I think he got moved to a hospital facility, an actual hospital facility. When I was there and got taken by EMTs to some sort of either hospital facility or a higher tier facility. I hope not a morgue. I hope he didn't die. because I didn't actually see what happened to him. But I hope he didn't die. Because he was Googling. I mean, he was like, I heard it. I mean, he was talking like that. He was a big dude. I was a little worried sometimes that he was just going to be like, and then just like snap and start fucking wailing on people. Because he was big and he would have had some power there. But he didn't. He was just like nice. Kind of gentle giant almost. So, yeah. All right. Here we go. Everybody, tax the rich, kneecap the rich. Boo! Like power.